it. I forgot Frank's water.
What are they supposed to be?
Red, right?
They're supposed to be red?
Red.
I think red is good.
Yeah,
Are
red
we at
is
least
good.
going to have video screens?
I'm working on that right now.
You just did one thing.
That's a total of two things. Like, how many years? The parking permits will come next year.
Yeah, I still, just kept using your old one. Like,
Jim's already in favor, you can tell.
yeah, I still have my one from 2017.
I still have my parking pass for the garage.
Yeah.
It still works, but I'm holding out
Yeah.
2020.
Have you had any dealings with John Garber in the last several years, or anybody in your office, as far as you know?
I haven't in several years. I only know he won't allow anyone to clean up the facade of his building,
Yeah,
even like donating the materials. And
wow.
so I don't know why he won't allow that. But if you take a close look at the gorgeous old building, it should be in much better shape.
Oh, I've been for years talking to the fire department across the street, saying, can you do anything about that? They said, well, not really.
It's violating property maintenance codes. I'm just turning it in. I don't know what's happening with that.
What building is it?
It's
Right
on
next to the church.
south of the Yorktown Hotel.
40 South Duke, the old Garber building. Windows are busted out at the top floor. And
Essentially catty corner to Royal Square on the northwest side.
the block has really come along nicely. It just so sad.
Everything else is really nice. And I know that they have offered to say, hey, we're doing the rest of the block. We've got all the materials. Can
That's
just
weird.
pay us for labor to cover the painting or something? Like, I don't get it. I know him. I know him from like good friends with Jeff Snyder. It's like we become more idiosyncratic as we get older, I guess.
Oh, yeah, they say as you get older, your circle of friends really shrinks.
All right, well, I've got 4 o'clock, so go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Wait, let Nate catch his breath. We don't want half our audience to be distracted.
Yeah, and our usual entourage isn't all here today. Future meetings for the Redevelopment Authority. We will continue to meet on the third Wednesday of each month, 4 o'clock here in Council Chambers, 101 South George throughout 2025. And agendas will be posted at RDA, NewYorkCity.org. We had no executive session this month. Anyone here for public comment? All right, we'll go into the approval of the meeting minutes of January 15th, 2025. Any additions or corrections to the minutes as distributed? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So made.
Is there a second? Further discussion? All in favor, give the consent by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Financial report.
Yeah, your financial report. Red is
Good, right? Okay. Financial reports at your desk there. A little bit of change in our actual general fund balance because of the money that was rolled over into the CDs. And of course, it is gas bill season at Penn Market. So our gas bills, just FYI, run about $3,500 a month in December, January for Penn Market. Everything else you'll see on the accounts receivable and the properties that are currently under redevelopment agreement. Hartley Street did get a roof permit, so they have started work on Hartley Street a while ago. Miss Bobby's Place is continuous as they're working on their last structure in that row of brick houses. Mr. Buffington is working on completing his property. I have not heard from 326 Wallace Street recently. Prospect, Pastor Kearse is about ready to settle on his property. Don and I have been working on trying to get a settlement date for 701, 703 Prospect. Mr. Garcia at 148 Maple asked for a 2-month extension because his mother recently passed away, so he is wrapping up, finishing up that property soon. And it looks great if you happen to drive by. He's completely painted the building. It looks really sharp. And then the other things that are listed on here, CDB reimbursement from the city for some work that the RDA had performed. 116 and 138 and 308 are on here pending action at this meeting. We are expecting rents to come in from 594, 596 Salem Avenue. If you recall, we transferred management of that over to the Housing Authority about June of last year. I have not received any rental income yet. So we've been working, they transitioned their accounting software, and I've been getting emails over the past couple of days. I'm trying to find out what they owe me, but it's about $9,700 roughly.
Aren't those a West Princess address?
I'm sorry, Salem, yes, it's West Princess. Thank you. I do that all the time. Yes, it's 594 West Princess. And then Mr. Ramos at 175 Lincoln is in full swing, has all his lumber ordered, and is ready to start framing in the next couple of weeks. So things are moving on all of our properties that we have under agreement, and our cash flow and our cash forecast is actually up a little bit, big picture.
So those FNB accounts, should we do something with those?
I've been whittling them down. The parking revenue, of course, now is only about $80 a month, and I can have the city deposit that into a different account. There were some outstanding checks on the general fund account that I just called as dead checks literally this morning because they haven't been cashed in 2.5 years. So we can certainly, I know that the account is clear what's coming in and out of there. We can certainly get rid of those accounts if you wish.
Is the Traditions General Fund more or less the operating account?
Yes,
Okay, good.
it's convenient. It's right down the street. And
Well, we want to support those who are taxpayers in the city. And support
Correct.
us
yes.
indirectly. So tell me a little more about that Prospect Avenue property that the Reverend is about to settle on. 10,500 is what we're going to get paid at closing.
Yes.
And how many units was that, 2?
He is projecting to put 3 units into it. It was illegally 5 or 6 units.
And a restaurant.
And a restaurant, yeah. That his proposal is to put 3 units into there, I believe. I just had a conversation with him last week. I believe he may have to go in front of zoning to make it a legal 3-unit, not an illegal 6-unit.
Is that the holdup for closing?
Yeah, I think it's a holdup. His lender wants to see an approval letter from the city that he's allowed to do what his plans show.
And we got some type of state grant for that property also, in addition to the 10.5 from the Reverend?
Yes, we got reimbursed by the state for the purchase of the property that we paid out during eminent domain proceedings.
And I bet when this project's over, he probably finds another property and attempts to do the same thing again somewhere else in the city.
He's been great to work with.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like the turkeys.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
That is all I have.
Anything worth mentioning on the CDBG balances?
No, we are working with our contractor on that. The 350 that's there during mowing season is, of course, coming up soon, hopefully. And our mowing runs us about $9,000 a month. Just during the busy, they mow every other week on 40 or 50 some properties.
Are we still using Spalco?
Spalco is still our contractor, yes.
When's the last time we bid that out?
It's been 2 years since we've had them. And typically, we do that in the, we can do it at any time, but we typically do it in October, November timeframe.
And we just didn't do it last
We
year?
just didn't do it this past year, no.
Does the city plow our properties for us?
No, well, yes and no. The city does do Penn Market for us, and I believe they may do the Locust Street parking area, but that's about it. Everything else Spalco does for us.
And that's the same person that does our.
Does our mowing, yes, same one. And they shovel all of our sidewalks and
Salt.
de-ice and salt. Every snow event costs us about $2,800 roughly.
Yeah, and we had a couple this year, so
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but yeah,
none of them were deep, but there were several.
right.
So just the mowing is 9,000, just the mowing's 9, that
Right.
doesn't, it's not
During
winter
the
stuff.
winter,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you get away with the winter. weather.
And that mowing also includes picking up litter and trash and things like that too, so.
All right, anything else? All right, don't see four squares, so we'll go to 116 Lafayette, or was there anything you wanted to say in four squares absence?
No, I know that Fred and Anthony and Justin have been working really hard with planning and zoning and the city and getting approvals for building 20 townhomes at the West Hope and Green Street lots, what we call the garden proper. They are working through the design. I've heard that they got financing approval, and that's why they had requested to push off until this month from last month. But they're not here, so.
I can give a small update. So they also reached an agreement with the YMCA fundraising arm, which I believe is called YCDC,
Yes.
and Larry Richardson, and came to an arrangement whereby they were going to assist in raising some capital. And that was just literally 2 or 3 weeks ago that I last spoke to anyone, and Larry was about to have his hip replaced. So I'm not sure, that's one you bounce back from fairly quickly, but he definitely planned some out of the office time. So there's at least some steps, though, that would be taken if you weren't aware of that. I hadn't heard about the conventional financing. I haven't spoken to them either.
Okay, yeah, I don't have any update.
All right, 116 Lafayette and 308 South George.
Yes, we have been approached to, let me back up, 116 and 308 were both under agreement with a contractor to repair using state grant funding. And the contractor that we hired was unable to perform in accordance to the grant timeframe. So I terminated his contract. We are departed on good terms. He understood. In the meantime, we have found a different contractor to go in and do those renovations using different grant funding. If you recall, we got money from the city for blight acquisition and stabilization. It's $500,000, $550,000. So we're allocating $30,000 for each property to repair the properties and stabilize them, new roofs, structural reinforcement, and get them stabilized rather than paying $30,000 to demolish them, which is great. And that contractor also has an arm that does complete renovations and would like to purchase the property, do the renovations, and sell the property to a homeowner. Not use it as a rental property, but also actually sell it to someone who can pay, be a homeowner, which is great, which is the ultimate goal of the RDA. So they have offered $10,000 per property. So it would be a total of $20,000, 2 separate redevelopment agreements. They are proposing, work has already started on the stabilization part of it. They're saying then around April, they would start the work and would be completed no later than January. So about, was that 9 months worth of work, and have a certificate of occupancy and completion done by February, and have them on the market for sale. So I'm in favor of this. This is great use of these properties, and I believe they have the right vision for how this should be done.
Please remind us who they is.
Oh, I'm sorry, they is Quick Holdings LLC.
Quick.
Quick Holdings
We would like to know who's transacting business in our.
Yes, I get that, and I'm sorry I didn't put that on the agenda. And actually, it's Elite Property Management has a construction arm, and they're doing the repairs right now. And so once those repairs are done, they will flip this redevelopment agreement, hopefully, into their name, and the Quick Holdings LLC with their new construction manager and development team will do the final renovations and the sale. They are also very interested in looking at vacant lots that the RDA has as part of the growth of their company.
Are you saying Quick Holdings is part of Elite?
Yes,
Okay. And Elite's doing the work?
yes.
Okay. Have they recently done some projects that you've had an opportunity to evaluate? I know they've done work in the city.
Not recently. They used to do quite a bit with the RDA, apparently. That was before my time. Mike was familiar with working with them as well.
I'm pretty sure the Land Bank Authority issued money to them or actually grabbed properties off the list for Elite to obtain and rehab, but I guess that would affect you if it didn't go through the RDA.
Correct.
So that's a Kim Hogeman question.
I remember Dave Cross was really like two brothers, right?
They kind of got their start on RDA properties.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, a guy named Sebastian Besting and then Seth and Josh Grobe. And the two brothers are from York County. The other guy's from Germany.
Any other questions? All right, do we have a motion to approve redevelopment agreements for 116 Lafayette Street and 308 South George for $10,000 each with Quick Holdings? Is that who's the agreement?
Yes.
Go for it, Frank.
I make that motion based on their local track record.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, give the consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So ordered. Ratification of purchase.
You've seen this and voted on it via email or concurred with it via email, but I wanted to ratify it to make it official. Last Friday, the 7th, or was that the 4th? It was the 7th. We had settlement on properties formerly known as Pewterex, more recently known as quote-unquote the Foundry. And the RDA now holds title to 5 parcels in and around the area of Hartley and Philadelphia Street, taking title for York Union Rescue Mission, or otherwise known as Life Path. So we are holding title on their behalf. This is an old aerial image on the screen. The rear portion of the building has been completely demolished to make room for them to come in and build a brand-new addition. So only thing that remains physically is the front 3-story, 4-story structure. And also in the transaction includes 3 vacant lots across the street on the even side of Philadelphia Street.
The location of the old Philly Cafe.
The old Philly Cafe, yes. This is how we reference things.
So the brick building on the front, the 3-story, that's where Patrick Sells was, right?
Yes, yes.
And is there going to be parking in the back, or is the new building addition going to occupy all the same?
I haven't seen any of the sketches yet. They've hired SAA architects, Mark Schermeyer, to do their design work for Life Path. My understanding is that it's going to be similar wing that comes out the back. This will be a complete relocation of the Mission that's on West Market Street. But it will be smaller square footage, but much, much more efficient square footage than what they have now, and give them the ability to serve more clients and have room for future expansion.
They just need enough parking for their own staff, and that's it. So,
I'm sure there's some kind of code with the number of how it classifies.
The wing is phase 2.
The wing is phase 2, okay.
The parking is important there's a lot of families that are living in their cars, and there's nowhere to park. And that opens up a lot of opportunity for a safe place to stay.
So they could park and stay there, is what you're saying?
Yes, or if they're living in their car,
Right,
it's a
right.
safe place to live in their car.
Yeah.
And not get harassed.
So all we need today is a motion to ratify, and there's the official language that was in the document that was presented at settlement. But the properties are 475 West Philadelphia, which is the still standing large brick building, and then 480, 482, and 484, 486, which are the empty lots of West Philadelphia Street, and then 145 North Harley is the larger lot in the back. A very exciting project.
Yes, very exciting. Jim and Nina's will have pizza orders forever.
Especially during construction, yes.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to ratify the agreements previously approved via email to purchase and hold the aforementioned properties on behalf of LifePath and authorize Michael Black to attend settlement, sign all closing documents on behalf of the RDA, and take any other action required, and also authorize Blandon Nace to attest the same?
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of giving consent by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Staff report.
Just a actually exciting update. The city of York and the RDA are going to join and issue an RFP for the development of, and I have a draft of it started here, the request for development proposals for what is known as parking lot 11 and the adjacent RDA controlled parcels on Princess and South Howard Street, which are shown here.
Is that Big Wash Laundry on the corner?
Yes, Big Wash Laundry is directly to the east. Smoke and Chill is on the corner. And the RDA owns these four green lots, as well as the two interlocked lots on Howard. And the city owns lot 11. So we are partnering and putting out an RFP for development proposals for something to happen in these areas. There's obviously an interest in housing. There's an interest in senior housing. We're going to put it out on the streets and see what kind of responses we get. The one thing that is a caveat that the mayor is concerned about is overflow parking from Vonnie Grimes Gym. When there's an event at the gym, there was recently a boxing tournament there, and this gravel lot 11 was packed full of patrons. So we want to make sure that what we've already started working with our parking bureau is having brochures developed that anyone that has an event at Vonnie Grimes Gym can clearly see that there's parking available at the Royal Square area, and there's parking available at City Hall. Obviously, there's street parking available. So to try to, soften the impact of any development here that would take away, quote unquote, from parking for Vonnie Grimes Gym. But I think the development of the area is much more critical right now.
Timeframe?
I'm hoping in the next, hopefully end of March, the RFP will be out on the street. Give people maybe a month to 6 weeks to reply and take it from there.
Ryan, will I ask a question?
You can. I'm not sure if I'll have the answer, but you can ask me.
Has the RDA board had a chance to review Mayor Bracey's plan for Lot 11 from a few years ago? I would recommend looking at it. It's a lot of information.
I do have a copy of the
I have it.
JMT study.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. It's,
Is that the one with like the athletic field or something there?
yeah, I mean, I want to, obviously, this is a development opportunity. We're interested. We own those two properties that are surrounded by the RDA. We came before to try to buy those back in the day, but were denied. So I just think that, I think we need athletic fields in the city. I think we need a soccer field. There's no soccer. We have a really strong Latin base in this city, and there's no soccer field to play. I've always thought you got Vonnie Grimes, and you got that. I mean, I get it. We need housing, but UN2 limits you to 2 stories, and you have to have 1.5 car parks per dwelling. So you're going to have, I don't know, 15 apartments for a spice that you're going to save parking for the Vonnie Grimes. You're going to have 1.5 parking spaces per dwelling unit. You're going to have 15 if you're going to follow the code, and then we have a comprehensive zoning plan that's been talked about forever. If this becomes CBD, now we're talking. Now we can go vertical, use by right, we can do a lot more. Sure, variances and other things can be done, but I just want to, back in the day, this was like Shavosky and Chaz Green and everybody, abandoned that alleyway. It's not quite the size of a full court, but, or I don't know if you call it a court field. I don't play, but it would be something.
Pitch.
It's a pitch. I watched Ted Lasso. I heard pitch. So just saying that. And we would be interested if maybe working with whoever, if it's not us, on those 130 and 132 East Princess, those two single-family homes. They're in fair condition, but I think you could make way for something much bigger too. So I think one is vacant right now. But I would check that plan out, only because it's good reference. And there's a lot of energy that went into that plan that got it to there.
Thank you.
All right, anything else?
I don't really. Just a brief update. Statewide continues construction at the Northwest Triangle. I have not heard anything negative so far, so I think things are moving. All the concrete's poured in the footers. They're starting to come up out of the ground, which is exciting. One thing I did learn is that it's going to be a panelized construction, which is pretty exciting. They're going to be built off-site and brought in as wall panels. The entirety of the building will be like a giant erector set once the first floor steel is set. So it will go up really quickly, which is
Wall panels, you don't mean just like concrete tilt up?
no, like 2x4s built off-site and brought in sections, which is, it's going to be exciting to watch. There's going to be a lot of activity quickly.
Well, I do drive by there a lot, and I don't seem to have seen much progress in a few weeks at least. Now, I presume some of that's weather related, but I'm glad.
A lot of it's underground yet, too. I mean, they're digging, and
I know they're doing a lot of plumbing, routing plumbing lines underground and coming up out.
So no complaints is good. They're progressing and not running into new additional obstacles.
The only thing that I've heard recently, and I'll just say this as a point of information right now until I learn more, when they contacted Pennsylvania American Water for a sewer hookup, they were told about an enormous tap fee or a usage fee for the apartments that will be going in there. So they're researching that and I guess starting a negotiation of sorts with Pennsylvania American Water to see how much the sewer fees are actually going to be. And ironically, and as a nice segue, I got an email this morning from Dentsply that said a similar thing. The developers of the Dentsply property said Pennsylvania American Water is only telling them they have 4 EDUs available on a site that used to use 40 EDUs, which is an equivalent dwelling unit. It's the amount of sewer capacity that goes to a plant. So very preliminary yet. I haven't heard the full details, but there seems to be some, 2 developers now have said that they're having trouble or are hitting a financial wall with Pennsylvania American Water with their capacity tap-ins. So we'll see where that heads, but that's the only thing that I've heard. And on Dentsply, they are moving forward. We're working with, obviously, Pennsylvania American Water, also working with York Water Company. There's a water main that needs to be installed or elongated in order to serve the entirety of the site. So we're working with York Water Company on that cost and awaiting a grant. There's a new grant from the Commonwealth called the Mixed Housing Development Grant. This was the first year they've offered it, and it is specifically for, which is really exciting to me to see, it is 80% to 100% area median income housing instead of 40% or 20%. So this is kind of the Alice community, the missing middle. So they're offering incentives or financing or grants for development of those types of units mixed with commercial or industrial or in old factories or environmentally challenged. Everything that's happening out at Dentsply checks almost every single box in this grant application, which is exciting for the Commonwealth to start looking at moderate income assistance for housing development, particularly in old industrial sites. So this is a really exciting time. So they were only going to award about 10 grants statewide this first round, just to test it out. And then hopefully, pending the governor's budget approval this year, we'll be able to start having more things like that. All good stuff.
What about Penn Market?
Thank you. I'm sorry I forgot. Penn Market, I just last week received the 95% construction drawings, awaiting my final review and approval to get those ready to go out to the street. Our architect just emailed me this morning, and she's out starting next week for like 2 weeks. So I either connect with her early the rest of this week, next week, or wait till she comes back. But hopefully we can get that is almost ready to hit the streets to go out for pricing. And we are significantly over budget based on the funds that we have available. So what we've done right now is develop the plans and specs to have a whole lot of alternates so that we can pick and choose what we can afford. We still need to do the fundraising or find more grants, which I've been working on. If we can find more funding, then we can break away more price. Obviously, we'd like to get the funding first, because trying to do a change order and accept an alternate halfway through a project is more pricey than getting it priced all up front. So right now, it's money versus amount of work you can afford, and vice versa. So we are moving forward, albeit very painfully slow.
Aren't you attempting to divert some of the originally awarded RACP grant funding for the Northwest Triangle towards Penn Market?
Yes, that's a concept. I actually met with a RACP consultant. There is a $6 million that was awarded to the Fortress Initiative for the Northwest Triangle. He diverted that to Harrisburg University for their use, and it doesn't appear that Harrisburg University needs $6 million for what their project is going to be. So I'm waiting to hear back from them on whether or not they actually want to use any of the grant at all, because sometimes just a drop is too much hassle to do the whole project. And so there may be the ability that their $6 million is freed up. That was awarded to the Northwest Triangle, but there is a potential that we could work with the Commonwealth to divert that and take some of that $6 million RACP grant and divert it towards Penn Market.
Well, even being able to access half of that would be
Right now,
immensely beneficial.
Absolutely.
For the capital stack.
Absolutely. Building the capital stack at Penn Market is challenging to begin with. Even if we do get another $1.5 million to $2 million in grants, we still need additional match money. So we're still going to have to find how that capital stack works out. But
And Harrisburg University's project is a greenhouse on the St. John's Episcopalian Church parking lot,
correct.
which couldn't possibly take up that many millions of dollars on that small site.
And one of the other problems,
Since all the equipment they want to put in there is from the Netherlands.
right, they want to import steel and metal products, which the state grant won't pay for. So
Do we have any competition for this RACP grant? Because I would like focus on that,
it's been awarded. It's just a matter of rescoping it.
well, is someone else trying to obtain a part of that as well? Are we the only?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
So right now, what's our funds available to us and funds needed in total? What's it look like?
For Penn Market?
Yeah.
We have $3 million available. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers. Roughly $3 million available, about 300 to 400 set aside for design work and studies that have been done, plus the building match has to be deducted back out of it. We've got about 2.6 set aside for construction. The architects take off and local contractors take off of the drawings when they were at a 60% status, came in at about $5.2 million. So we're facing about almost $2.5 to $3 million shortfall of funds for construction alone. We have since made some modifications. The contractor was really good in finding things that the architect thought was a good idea. Perfect example was sandblasting or corn blasting all of the paint off of the Penn Market interior and making it bare wood and then painting the ceiling, which would have cost probably about $600,000 to do both of those tasks, which we don't really need to do. So basic things like that can really make an impact.
So are any of the funds pledged to date from the foundations?
No, we have not had any conversations at all about Penn Market
Good.
funding.
So let's think of this almost in the reverse order. Let's go to them last. But square away as much as you can with the RACP grant funding, because if no one else is trying to obtain that, I don't think Harrisburg University is going to put much of a fight up. And if we could get several million from that bucket to add to what you've already assembled, and you go to the foundation with the full-blown, here's all the bells and whistles to create a great food oasis for the community, and here's the air ball that's left.
That's exactly what we've been trying to do. The meeting that Blanda mentioned with the, the consultants, I mean, that's going to be the first step is, well, first step is getting this fully reassigned back to us.
And get a price tag on it.
And then working on the RACP and figuring out how to redivert that.
And that's a matter of the Shapiro administration being friendly or unfriendly? It's just kind of a discretionary thing from the state?
I'm not going to say friendly or unfriendly. I think it goes through the Office of Budget to determine whether or not your project meets the intention of the original award.
Okay, so maybe Seth Grove has some influence over final decisions in his role. Well, good, so we'll have some champions.
Oh, yeah, that's what we need, yeah.
Because we don't want this, I mean, the community doesn't want to lose this money, but boy, what an injection this would be for Penn Market to be revitalized and,
Agreed.
modernized in every respect, and then supply on its heels in the Knowledge Park. Suddenly you've got quite a nice, that end of town has really seen a lot of funds.
HU's also looking at the fairgrounds. It's a $40 million project. If you were HU, you probably want to move that RACP. Is there another RACP line item to apply to?
Well, it's not in the city.
Yeah, there's multiple, and that's part of the discussion is what line item do you apply the RACP to?
Weissman has so many, they did a really good job.
They really did.
Capturing a lot of
Yeah.
opportunity to,
Well, unfortunately, we're not sure where their appetite for that project is anymore.
And I literally just, last Monday, had a conversation about the fairgrounds project and the bigger picture out there. Some of the international companies were to town, and it's super great project.
But honestly, that's the exact same problem with St. John's Episcopal Church parking lot, is if this company from the Netherlands is bringing in all their equipment and all their steel and everything, I think it just squelches any possibility of RACP grants. I don't know that for a fact, but I've
the
heard.
fairground probably has $10 million in infrastructure alone.
Yeah.
So that's all, justifiable. I want it to go to Penn Market. I'm just warning you what they might say.
Yeah, that was actually the start of the conversations, Dylan, as we started talking about if Harrisburg University doesn't use the RACP at all on the Beaver Street, can we divert it all to the fairgrounds? And that comes with RDA approval. So it would, yes, we could potentially divert some of that, but we also need to divert some to Penn Market in exchange. Yeah. Yeah. That's all I have.
All right, anything else for the good of the order? Meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
I had to try to stretch it out, boss. When we're here, we must.
No, I tried to get hold of them, and it's very hard. You go to their website. I see the guy walk in every morning, and never having to go out by really talking and lay down. Why, what's your interest there?
Well, I don't want to say that. I'm just curious.
No, it's real, you try to get